Hey everyone, I'm Sowmya. I'm a social media manager at Rego, and today I'll be interviewing Bhavana, who's a life coach. We'll be discussing mindset during COVID and work from home culture. Working from home again has been a new normal. It was back in 2020, and now again it has been. And everyone is again finding it difficult to adjust with the virtual circumstances. Some don't even have this internet and laptops, and they are struggling more. So, how do you think they should deal with it? What should they do? How should they, fix their mentality that it's okay and it'll be better?
So, you know, many people think work from home is kind of a curse because it makes them face a lot of the things that they were ignoring
Hmm.
before. It brings them face to face with what's within this mind and this heart, right? And what's going on, everything that is going on in our families, every little issue that we have with people who are around us comes to the surface, right? I believe you can either see it as a curse or you can see the same thing as a blessing. You've got so much time, you can learn new skills. Like when I was a software engineer, I always wanted to learn speaking. So maybe if I would still be doing my job, I would just invest some of my money into learning about public speaking or learning psychology, if I had not done that earlier. So invest in things that you makes you really happy and try to find out who you are, because I think it's really a blessing. It's a time. I got the opportunity for working from home from 2016. Okay, I was that recluse in office who took work from home without any reason. Just coming up with stupid reasons to take work from homes, even though we were allowed only two work from home or three work from homes in a month. I used to take one or two work from home every week. And that was because I was figuring myself out at that time. That was because I was dealing a lot with my mind and with my heart. And I did not want to go to office and ignore all of those problems. I wanted to sit at home, face them, find out who I was, spend time on myself, invest on myself, and grow. And I've seen that impact. So when we are going to office, that time it's always about the outward journey. You come back home, you are tired, there's no time to go inward anymore. And
So,
this is literally a blessing, to go inward and look what's wrong, what are the emotions I've kept bottled up, what are the thoughts that I repeat on a daily basis, what do I need to get rid of, what do I need to change, do I need to add, what else do I need to learn. Can go inwards. I mean, if you go, I was depressed and I was anxious a big period in my life. And I still get depressed. It's not like being depressed is the problem. The problem is if you stay there for a long time, right? If you stay there for a long time, life often throws curveballs at us and we get depressed and anxious, and that's okay. So, learning to manage our emotions and our mind is one of the best skills that one can have to be able to live their lives as they want. Because if you can't manage this and this, no matter what you are doing, you will not feel happy, you will not feel successful, you cannot enjoy your life. The only enjoyment will be when external stuff is triggering you to feel happy and feel good. Like if you go to a friend's wedding, you meet a lot of good friends, they make you feel loved, so you're feeling love. If you go to a party, you're sitting with 10 people and talking and they are making you feel excited about something, so you're feeling excited about something, right? You're always dependent on the external environment to make you feel positive emotions, and that's the reason most of us are struggling with anxiety and depression in the lockdown. To do all on yourself. And I see it as the most blessed time that humans will get, at least for the next decade, because corona is going to be over someday. We are going to get out into the world. But if you are not sick, and if your family is not sick, and if you have not faced loss, it is actually a blessing. You've got to use it in that way. You've got to heal what's inside you, because all of us have something messed up here, something or the other that is messed up, or has a faulty wiring in the machine, in this machinery. तो अभी वो ठीक करने का time है.
so how do we cope with that?
So first of all, coping with any emotional turbulence, it can be a big thing like losing someone or having a breakup, which is an emotional trauma, or it can be a small issues like having a fight with a partner, or maybe not feeling good enough about your self-esteem. Anything, anything from low emotional states to really high low emotional states. Uh, that is, you're facing with many emotions, and you can actually, let me just take a moment. Yeah, so there are many emotions that you can be facing. Either it can be guilt, fear, grief. When you lose someone, it is grief, right? You have to got to first identify what you are feeling, right? When you're feeling grief, then you have to got to allow yourself कि यार, there's no way that I can ignore this state. Like grief is one of the biggest shakers of our lives. You cannot ignore grief. You can ignore guilt, you can ignore fear, you can ignore every other emotion on the planet, but you cannot ignore grief. And that's why it's so painful, because you've got to feel it. Like every emotion has a sensation in our physical body. Guilt has a sensation, fear has a sensation, shame has a sensation, happiness has a sensation, joy has a sensation, excitement has a sensation, delightedness has a sensation. So if you are not present with your body when you're feeling these negative states, and you're not allowing that sensation to be present, because people tend to think of negative emotions as something that is not, should not be a part of life. If grief did not exist, I think many people will become murderers or, kill someone. We will have no morale without negative emotions. Guilt, shame, fear, all of these are meant to keep us safe and keep us within our boundaries. So they need to exist. The only reason is we all are dealing with so many chaotic emotions at all times is because we don't know how to process them. And grief is a very great teacher. There's no way. You have to cry, you have to feel it, you have to be present with it, you cannot ignore it. You can go on crying for days and days and days, and grief will still be present with you. If it is one of your loved ones, that grief is supposedly never going to go away. Like if you lose your father or your mother or your brother or your sister, that loss is always going to be present, because they were a part of you. They were not just a part of your life, they were a part of who you are. And that part is always going to be kind of empty, and you have to be okay with that, right? You have to let yourself feel all of that negativity and be in that. And it's okay to feel everything in the world. This is one of the biggest problems that I see people is trying to ignore emotions. How can I control emotions? How can I ignore emotions? And I'm like, nahi hota hai aise. You have two hands, you cannot ignore your two hands. Similarly, you have thoughts and emotions, you cannot ignore them. You have them, that is present in you. Unless and until you go back thousands of years and changed how humans evolved, until you can do that, you have the power to do that, you cannot ignore emotions. First, make time for self care, make time for a lot of happy, positive stuff in your life, which you like doing. Like, I like doing many things, and I do those things just because I know I like doing them. So, explore what you like. And it's not about watching movies. All of those activities has to be centered about you being present in the moment. The activities like I like watching movie or I like watching series might help on a shorter duration of time, but it might make things worse on a longer durations. But that's not literally self-care. That's another way of keeping ourselves busy and not facing what we are supposed to face. Run, walk, sing, dance, meditate, anything that keeps you active, anything that helps your breath flow. And one of the most healing things that we have is our own breath. Most of the people are not aware of it. Most of the people don't use it consciously. Breath can help us focus, breath can help us stay present, breath can help us get rid of emotions, not get rid of them, but feel our emotions and then let them go. There's so many things that human breath allows us to do, just that we are just so disconnected into the virtual world. So I guess this time, because of things going virtual, people have started feeling a lot of disconnectedness with themselves. But the point is, they were always disconnected with themselves. We were always on our phones. I remember when I was a software engineer, I was either looking at my emails, working, or talking to a few friends, or using my phone, swiping, seeing in social media. Like our lives have become driven by social media. So take a break, come out of the virtual world, go into the virtual world while you're working, use your phone, but take like mindful 30-minute breaks where you do other things that does not involve your phone or any kind of screen, so that you can be in this body. Because the worst thing that the virtual world can do for us is kind of disconnect us with this physical body, right? Just coming back to this space and feeling like, okay, I am this body is mine. And come living from that space is very important. See, information is food for your mind.
True.
Right. Me, I still consume a lot of junk food, Maggie and pizza, and I survive and thrive on these things. I know they are unhealthy for me, and probably I will grow out of them. But for now, I am in this space, and I acknowledge that this is something that I need to evolve from. Similarly, people who are facing issues with feeling a lot of negative emotions because they have been impacted by the news,
Mhm.
first you have to become aware that that is something that is wrong. You're consuming negative information. You cannot stay positive. There's no way that will happen. If I eat food that gives me food poisoning and I complain that I got diarrhea, that's wrong because I chose to eat that food that was unhealthy for me, right? So you're choosing to consume a lot of news. Now, in टीवी पे तो चॉइस करना बहुत इजी है कि हमें क्या देखना है, बट सोशल मीडिया पे चॉइस करना इजी नहीं है बिकॉज
Hmm.
यू आर स्क्रोलिंग एंड मेनी थिंग्स कम इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू एंड you get sucked in. But if you are first aware ki this is something I'm doing wrong, your mind will instantly remind you, hey, move ahead. You ignore many people on social media that you don't like, but you still follow them. You ignore the news too. You can easily ignore it. I consciously don't choose to ignore it. I consciously choose to see it, but I consciously choose to disconnect with any type of judgment. Like, abhi, the time we classify things as right and wrong, the times we classify things as this is horrible, this is bad, this is so depressing, that's when we start that cycle of negative thought loop due to that news. If I see that fact and I let it be, because the world has so many things that are wrong about it, I cannot fret about them. I have chosen my ship. My ship is mental health. My ship is emotions. My ship is performance coaching and growth coaching, and that's my ship. I'm going to worry about that a lot. I'm going to worry about my growth a lot. I'm allowing myself to worry about that. I'm going to worry about everything that is wrong with me. But I don't want to worry about everything that's wrong with the world where I can do nothing. There's no way I can impact. So I have to choose where I can impact and let my energy flow in that direction and stop every other hole in my, personal energy, you can say.
Mostly because I work for a travel industry, we have seen that shoppers and drivers have been affected really badly. And of course, they will be. They don't have the luxury to work from home. How can they work from home? So, how should they cope with it? Because they are really facing the economical loss. How would you suggest? Like, I know their mentality will be like they'll have to sit at home, they won't make any money. So, how should they cope with it?
I really am at loss of words because it's very difficult to deal with a state where you are not earning money, but and that's I know how I felt when I left my job for the first few months. I'm like, what? How I'm supposed to live? How am I supposed to survive, right? And it was very tough, but that was my choice, so it was a little easy because I chose it. I chose to leave my job and go after my dreams, and I knew I'm not going to earn for the first many months. I had no idea how much time it will take me to actually start earning, right? And it's very, very difficult. I'm still struggling to make meet those income levels that would fulfill me, and that hurts a lot. And I don't want to do, there are many things that I can do right now, like content writing and many things for other people, but I don't want to. I genuinely want to give this my all focus and attention, and that requires बहुत बड़ा गट्स चाहिए. लेकिन उनको तो ना उनका चॉइस है, ना उनके पास ऐसा कुछ है सेकेंडरी जिस पे वो लीन कर सकते हैं. तो फर्स्टली यू आर गोइंग टू फील ऑफुल. आई थिंक allowing yourself to be in that state, negative state, is better. And first of all, what happens with people when something gets thrown at them is people start feeling like a victim. They
Mm-hmm.
have this victim mindset. it, unless and until you're living in that victim mindset, you can't really do anything for changing that state. You will always feel like a victim, and hence you won't be able to change that state. The only way to change that state is to first stop feeling like a victim. Tell yourself कि अभी हो गया, ये हो रहा है, ये चल रहा है. What else can I do? Probably they have a farm. Maybe they can do something on the side using their farm and try to earn income. Probably they have savings which they can use for the meantime and be okay with that. You are surviving, right? It's about surviving. Whenever life throws curveballs at you, you can either play a victim and feel bad and feel sad, or you can start surviving, where you actually look out as to how can I change my life right now. Delivery boys are still delivering. Like if there is a chauffeur who is in the city, they can probably take up some jobs in Swiggy and Zomato, unless and until their ego gets hurt. But if they play victim, they won't be able to get to that decision. Coming out of the victim mindset is the first step. Then you find what else is out there. Probably your maths was very good till third or fourth standard, and you could like teach kids around your house. No, none of the kids right now is going to school. Like this is for towns, जो छोटे towns में drivers हैं उनके लिए है. आप बच्चों को, अपने घर के आसपास के बच्चों को, अपने मोहल्ले के बच्चों को मैथ्स पढ़ा सकते हो, इंग्लिश पढ़ा सकते हो, आपकी जो भी चीज स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट है, थोड़ा इनकम वहां से मिलेगा, राइट? घर से बाहर नहीं निकलना चाहते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ द फियर ऑफ कोविड, आप उनके लिए डिलीवरी कर सकते हो, आप उनको बोल सकते हो भाई मुझे फोन करो, बताओ कहाँ जाना है, कितना सामान कहाँ से लेके आना है, आई विल गेट एवरीथिंग एंड आई विल कीप इट इन फ्रंट ऑफ योर हाउस, यू डोंट हैव टू गो एनीवेयर. There are many things you can do, but you have to first come out of that victim mindset, start surviving. And the third stage is you have to really start thriving. Now, unless and until you get your old job back, thriving is going to be a little difficult. But everything in the external world cannot define how you are feeling inside. You can still thrive despite of the external chaos, and that is by just shifting to gratitude. I'm sure there is food on your table, at least if the driver is somehow listening to us having this conversation, I am sure he has food on his table and a smartphone at least to listen to this conversation, right? Everybody's healthy, that's why that person is listening to this conversation. So focus on everything good that you have, a roof on your head, food on your plate, right? And what you don't have will only affect you unless and until you only focus on that. If you give just 5 minutes of your day feeling grateful for all the things that are still there despite of this horrible pandemic that is going on, is a great thing. But if you're stuck in victim's mindset, there's no way you'll be able to feel grateful. जो victim की तरह feel कर रहे हैं उनको ये बात लगेगा कि क्या बकवास है, मतलब मुझे नहीं समझ आता gratitude क्या होता है, मैं क्यों gratitude बोलूं, मेरी जिंदगी में तो इतना सब कुछ गलत चल रहा है. But really use, मतलब what are we trying to do by staying in that victim's mindset? It's only hurting us. We will get some sympathy from other people. Many people will feel bad about us, but mostly we will feel bad about ourselves if we stay there. So to come out of that victimhood, to feel like a survivor, when you start surviving, when you start choosing what are the options that you can do, then you can switch to the thrivers mindset where you can begin to be grateful about things that are there. अभी 1,500 रुपए भी आप कमा पा रहे हो तो वो भी ग्रेटिट्यूड के लिए है. आप 5,000 भी कमा पा रहे हो तो वो भी ग्रेटिट्यूड के लिए. डजंट मैटर इफ यू आर अर्निंग 30 or 40,000 बिफोर. सेकंड क्वेश्चन में जो ग्रीफ की बात की थी हमने, आप ग्रीफ को प्रोसेस करो. लेट द ग्रीफ बी इन योर बॉडी एंड इन योर माइंड एंड यू नो इन योर हार्ट. देन you can accept it and switch from victim's mindset to, you know, because if I lost my job and if somebody kicked me out, if something happened because of which I stopped earning, I would go crazy. But allow yourself to go crazy, then come back and make that decision of doing something, because there's so many things on the internet that you can do to earn money. So many opportunities. You have to just put your mind to it, right? कि करना क्या है. And थोड़ा सा ego side में.
Yeah. So thank you, Bhavna. Before you leave us, what's the one message that you would like to convey everyone who's watching the series?
So the one message for me, for everyone is going to be just allow your emotions this time, especially for mental health. We tend to try and suffocate ourselves by trying to choose only positive emotions. Life cannot be ever experienced by just positive emotions. Life experience is mixed of positives and negatives. Life ebbs and flows, and that's okay. That ebb and flow will happen. Just learn to surf. जो भी आ रहा है, ride करो वो wave. If it is a positive wave, have fun. If it is a negative wave, let yourself sulk. Let yourself feel bad. Allow yourself that space that you need to heal. There are two kinds of people, especially, in every emotions, how they deal with negative emotions. One kind of people who throw themselves in work, and one kind of people who freeze. मतलब कुछ कर ही नहीं पाते हैं. तो आई एम ऑन द अदर एंड व्हेन आई एम फेसिंग नेगेटिव इमोशंस आई जस्ट फ्रीज. सो माय स्ट्रगल इज टू कम टू द बैलेंस वेयर आई कैन डू समथिंग एंड येट टेक माय ओन पर्सनल स्पेस टू हील. The who's on the other end of the spectrum, for them it will be to come to a balance where they can give themselves break from the work and just take time for healing, right? So that's one thing very important.
Yeah, that was a great message. Thank you, Bhavna. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.